This video is sponsored by Squarespace, but I'll tell you more about them later. That rock's perfect, but it's 20 something.
That's maybe going to be right, depending on what our experiment shows us.
Okay. So this week started off with some challenges. I was a bit ambitious with the amount of weight that I had on one of my French cleats in my studio, and so I tried to put something else on that cantilevered very far out, and that created a lot of force, and then that force pulled that cleat off the wall, and the TV and screens and important things that were all on that French cleat came crashing down. So that was the way that the week started. And then I sent off the 2 drawings from last week as well, which was a bit sad, but it had its problems as well. So usually I leave a little bit of a border around my drawings so that when they arrive at the framers, they have a little bit of playroom to either trim the artworks down precisely to the size that they need, or if they have mounting board, the boards can overlap the works slightly. And the measurements that we had for the wooden crate that we put the works in and shipped them flat had no tolerance whatsoever. So I had to trim down the artworks right onto that border, which is not something that I really wanted to do. I've been diving back into the new eye drawings, which are an absolute sanctuary for me. I've been working late into the evenings and getting lost in a lot of the details. There's some very cool textures in these 2 drawings as well. So there's some very subtle, soft textures in the skin on either side of one of the eyes, the lighter of the 2 eyes. And that's quite a practice in restraint. So I need to try and tease out some harsh contrast to get this reflective effect from extremely small values or very light values. So if I use anything harder than like a B or a 2B, it will make stark marks and start to make everything look patchy. So I'm pretty much stuck to like an HB and a 2H trying to draw this section of the eye. And yeah, it's coming along really, really well, and I'm really enjoying it. The iris as well was really juicy to get stuck into all the details of it. And I've been enjoying putting my microphone right up against the drawing and trying to capture the sounds of the drawing. A lot of this is all happening on the new magnetic easel, which is slowly getting updated and becoming more and more over-engineered, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's heavy.
It's heavy?
How heavy do you think it is? This is heavy. This is properly heavy.
This is 40 kgs?
Yeah.
No, it can't be.
I think it can be.
Okay.
Should we weigh it before we leave?
Is there a scale here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to guess first because you did say 40 and then I said yeah.
I do think it's 40.
You think it's 40? Okay. I'm going to say it's heavier than that. I'll go up by quite a bit. I'll go 45.
45,
kilos.
okay.
But I'm not certain. Okay.
Whoa,
that's
so
close.
The way the magnetic easel works is that it's a sheet of very thin metal attached to a sheet of MDF. We had to stick the steel to the MDF using a really strong adhesive, but the problem was if we stuck it on skew, we wouldn't be able to get it off at all to correct it. So we only had one shot at placing it perfectly straight. So we built a bit of a jig to try and make sure that we were aligning the metal perfectly with the MDF, and then laid it down. We unfortunately didn't quite get it perfectly aligned, so Dan took an angle grinder to it and just cleaned up some of the edges, but it shouldn't really cause any problems. The next thing I needed was to try and allow the board to move up and down so that I didn't have to reach too high or try and get too low. To do this, I had to create a separate plywood frame that would sit on the French cleats on the wall and then attach runners to both sides of the board and the frame to allow the board to move evenly up and down. If those runners are slightly skew, then it would create too much friction and the board would just get stuck halfway up. So fortunately, we double measured and made absolutely sure, and the runners lined up perfectly, which was really lucky. The board is really heavy, and to be able to move it up and down meant that I had to use a counterweight system. So with a bit of research, I found that pulleys are actually magic, and we can create a system that will allow pulleys to be able to pull the board up while using a really small weight. At first I thought we needed to try and have a wheel on the back of the board where the rope could slide as it moved up and down. So I created this wheel on the lathe and just created a little groove inside of it that the rope could sit in. I then had to sand that groove to get it really, really smooth to try and reduce as much friction as possible. The problem with this though is that the feel of pulling the board up, even though there's a small counterweight on the other side, still feels a bit janky. And I have a suspicion that if we have the board be the light side of the system and have a really, really heavy counterweight in like a massive rock, that might make the experience of pushing the board up and down a little bit smoother. So Dan and I took turns hanging from the pulley and the ropes to try and stress test if these wall anchors are strong enough. And then there's also been a fair bit of play in the studio, which is a crucial part of the practice. So there's an idea that I don't think I'm quite ready to share with everyone yet, but we were doing some shoots and taking some very interesting reference photos with fabric and frames and things. So I'm going to expand on this a whole lot more and then dive into that in the next video. Maya, what's up? Oh. That's a microphone. This week in the studio has been a lot. I've been running around trying to get so many different things done, and it's been extremely distracting, but also really stimulating. I feel like I'm trying to do too many things at the moment, and I think that it's a result of, or a symptom of ADHD, that if I'm not being extremely stimulated, or if I don't have a lot going on, then I almost feel like a kind of a panic that I might get bored set in. And so it feels like I'm trying to keep myself extremely busy to keep the boredom potentially away. I'm enjoying it and I think it's working for me, but I can see that the behavior has a dark side, and that's burnout, and just it is very anxiety inducing to be working like this. At the moment, I feel like I'm in a flow and we're doing a lot of really fun and exciting things in the studio. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you'd like me to go into more next week. I think I should be quite a long way further with the eye drawings, so I'm probably going to try and dive into some more drawing techniques in next week's update. But before in this video, let me give a quick shout out to this video's sponsor, Squarespace. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, and they played a huge role in my career, not only in sponsoring these videos and helping me maintain this channel, but more importantly, early on in my career, I was looking for a way to showcase my work and make it easy for collectors to find me and get in touch with me. And I didn't have time to learn HTML and to try and build a reliable, beautiful, simple website, and I found that Squarespace did that effortlessly. I never had to patch or upgrade anything. I could register a domain with them and set up an online store, and most importantly, I could design a portfolio and show my work the way that I wanted to. Also, every time I got stuck, their amazing support team helped me out instantly. So if you're looking at building a website, give Squarespace a try, and if you decide that you love them, use this offer code and get 10% off your first purchase. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. The studio has been a sanctuary and a playground and just an absolutely incredible space for me over the last couple of weeks, and it's really special for me to be able to share it with you guys. So let me know in the comments what you might want to see in the next one. Thanks for the support. Leave a like if you found the video entertaining or helpful in any way. It helps the channel out in a huge way. As always, thanks for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. There was another really concerned comment that we found saying this video is almost all you just talking and almost no focus on actually creating art, which would really be terrible. So we've gone ahead and just calculated the amount of seconds that I was talking directly to the camera and the amount of seconds showing art being made. So what we calculated is that there's 630 odd seconds of video in total, excluding sponsorship, and what was it?
210 of your face.
210 of my face. So thank goodness we can be put to rest that it's not predominantly talking, it's still a lot of creating art.
Hopefully you can sleep well tonight, knowing.
I'm sure they can. Okay. Oh, wait.
What's going on here?
I'm just trying to light you for the editing shot.
This is perfect.
Just like normal.
These are working conditions I can get behind.